Morning, beautiful people. Y'all, I really don't even know how to react to any of this stuff with the tariffs anymore, because it's all over the place. So, good morning, beautiful people. No one's in here, but that's okay. Good morning, beautiful people. I don't see anyone in here. Why is that? I really don't even know how to react, what to do, what to say, because what's in a tariff? Shall it be a name other than, I don't know what the William Shakespeare quote is, but ooh. Good morning, Ellie. Good morning, how are you? So, you all know how Donald Trump is trying to literally manipulate the market through these tariffs, right? Well, on late Friday, the Trump administration puts under the Trump administration's Customs and Border Patrol office, the CBP office, puts out a notice saying that there are exemptions. There are exemptions to these tariffs with China. And it's funny because around midday yesterday, around 3-4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Donald Trump then realizes, he's like, oh crap, my administration put on exemptions on these tariffs with China. And he's like, there are no exemptions. There are no exemptions. I really don't get it. How can your administration put something out there that seemingly you approved, and then all of a sudden you get angry at that? It's like, it's just, the chaos of this is just too crazy. It's too crazy. Donald Trump's Customs and Border Patrol office put out a memo saying that there are exemptions. There are exemptions from Chinese tariffs, specifically for electronics, whether it's your iPhone, your iPad, other semiconductors, microchips, stuff like that. And then Donald Trump gets angry that his administration put out this notice. You can't make this stuff up. So Trump claims there was no tariff exception. There was no tariff exception in a fiery social media post. Nobody's getting off the hook. Except Trump's CBP office literally announced them late Friday. So, let me get to this. So President Donald Trump just issued a fiery statement about tariffs, which is likely to confound an already puzzled business community even further. In a post to his Truth Social platform Sunday afternoon, the president seethed about the portrayal of the policy announcement from the White House on Friday, which rolled out guidance that smartphones and other electronic devices would be exempt from his administration's steep tariffs on imported goods from China. So this was breaking news on Friday, late Friday. But this article was written early Saturday morning. And it was interesting because the Trump administration, under their congressional border, or the Customs and Border Patrol office, literally put out a memo saying, hey, and I'll show you that in a second, hey, we are exempting certain goods, electronics, iPhones, iPads, microchips, semiconductors from Chinese tariffs. We're going to exempt them. And his administration put that out. 36 hours later, Donald Trump says, there are no exceptions. There are no exceptions. Let me tell you. No, we will not let this stand. Nobody's getting off scot-free. Okay, pause. Those are just facts. That his administration put out something saying there are exceptions. He turns around and says there are no exceptions. So, did Donald Trump either not know that his administration did this? Or did he approve it and not realize it and then change his mind? You can't have two things coexist at the same time. And let me just go ahead and show you Customs and Border Patrol agents, which are in charge of collecting tariffs, announced new guidance that a number of products will be exempt from Trump's more than 100% tariff against China. And this was the actual announcement. You can see here that it was made late Friday. Sorry, my green screen's kind of wonky. Late Friday, April 11th, consequently my dad's birthday, at 10:36 p.m. And it says in here, the reciprocal tariff exclusion for specified products, all right? Now, there's a lot of legalese jargon in this, so I will just zoom in here. Basically, it says all products that are properly classified in these listed provisions will be excluded. And I'm not the most versed on trying to understand all of this, but I'm assuming all of these are electronic, are codes for electronic devices. So that all being said, it's just funny how he literally said his administration puts out something saying there are no exceptions, and then they put out something saying there are Trump's administration puts out something saying there are exceptions, and then he gets mad about it. So let me just go to his post. And let me use my little hands here. Nobody is getting off the hook. Nobody for the unfair trade balances and non-monetary tariff barriers against that of other countries have used against us, especially not China, which by far treats us the worst. And then he goes on to say, there was no tariff exception announced on Friday. When he says, pause, when he says exception, I'm pretty sure he meant exemption. Yeah. There was no tariff exception announced on Friday. These tariffs are subject to the existing 20% fentanyl tariffs, and they are just moving to a different tariff bucket. What does that even mean? He says they're moving to a different tariff bucket. What is a tariff bucket? Like, when I read that, my eyebrow just immediately shot up. I was like, which I'm trying to also do my other one. Yeah, anyway. So he said, the fake news knows this, but they refuse to report it. We're taking a look at semiconductors and the whole electronic supply chain. No, what you say is fake news reporting is that your administration puts out a memo saying, hey, we as an administration are putting out exemptions, things that are going to be exempt from the tariffs. And then you come out and say there are no exemptions, except you use the word except. There are no exceptions. No, the news is reporting it right. You just sound as crazy as you think. You can't make this stuff up. So it's like, do we have tariffs or do we not have tariffs? What's in a tariff? What's in a name, right? You know, just tariff me already. That last one was a comment that was left on a post talking about this. So I'll show you that in a second. But it's like the contradictory nature of this is just so wild to me. Now, Trump went on to say, we're taking a look at semiconductors and the whole electronic supply in the upcoming national security tariff investigations. Also, pause. If you're enjoying the if you're enjoying the live stream, please smash that subscribe button and please send some likes. It means a lot. I'm trying to inform and educate people about what's going on. You don't have to agree with my opinions, but I'm just trying to share what's been happening and make it easier to understand. Good. If you like the vibe, if you like the energy, then subscribe. I love all of you. Shout out to my amazing moderators. Now, what's funny is his Commerce Secretary, a guy named Howard Lutnick, literally went on to say, quote, in an interview, he said, this is not like a permanent sort of exemption. I'm like, okay. He said, what Trump is doing is he's saying they're exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in a month or two. So these are coming soon. Okay, pause. So he's saying that there are no exemptions, except you haven't put in place whatever other tariff that you want to put in place. So how can you say that there are no exceptions when you haven't done the thing you said you're going to do? How, I truly can't understand. This is King Lear at its finest. For those of you who don't know King Lear, the story of the Mad King, that's where we are in American history. Like, Donald Trump just like completely contradicts and just rants. Imagine trying to even just run his administration. This man, his administration puts out something saying, hey, there are exemptions to these tariffs. Now, regardless of whether you feel that those are good, bad, that doesn't matter. Just put out the facts. They put out these exemptions saying these products are exempt from it. His Customs and Border Patrol office, which collects tariffs, put that out there. Then he goes on to say that there are no exceptions. Like, where do you go with that? How do you confront him? Do you say, Mr. President, I think you're mistaken? Like, he would be like, you're a vegetarian, vegan, and woke. Let me tell you, get out of my administration. Like, how do you go around that? Also, someone calls me zesty. Thank you. It means I have flavor, unlike some people. But that at the same time, can you not at least listen to what I'm saying? Or do you not have that ability? So, just for a second, put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say this was a Democrat. Let's say this was under a Democratic administration. Okay? Let's say that Democrats decided to pursue tariffs as an option. We don't need to discuss or debate tariffs. Just go with the facts here, that if a Democrat were to do this, let's say that Joe Biden were to say, look, Jack, there are no tariffs. There are, what is it? They're you like my impression? I think it's pretty good. I'm a Democrat and I can make fun of Biden. Woo. Bless his heart. Where is that man? Who even knows? But that being said, let's just say if a Democrat, let's say Biden or Kamala Harris, were to try and do these like targeted tariffs, whatever. It's like, and then they completely contradict themselves. It would be madness. It would be madness. So like, it just, how can you look at this moment and think that this guy is serious? You can't. You truly can't. Also, just as a little heads up, since there's a lot of people in here, 2 things. I love all of you, even if you don't like me, even if you're trying to call me names or bully me online. You know, you have nothing else better to do with your time, and maybe you have a crush. You know, if you want to do that, slide in my DMs. Number 1, if you are spewing misinformation, literally objectively wrong information, stuff that literally goes against what scientifically is measured in facts, data, statistics, then you will be muted. Sorry. Also, your opinion. If your opinion is rooted in hate, if it's rooted in prejudice, if you think that you're like, oh, that's just my opinion, and it's you literally spewing misinformation, you will be muted. You will be blocked. Sorry. That's the rules. Those are the rules of my life. Don't use your opinion to spew hate. And then, so you have freedom of speech, but make sure it's speech worth saying. If you're using your freedom of speech to spew homophobic stuff, then maybe you should look inwardly at that. And then second, if you're spewing objectively wrong information, you will be muted. Sorry, there is misinformation policies here on YouTube, and I do not allow for that. Cool? Got it? Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Incredible. Outstanding. So anyway, it's just, it's madness to me how he will literally go, his administration will put out something saying that there are exceptions to tariffs, and then he takes to social media, takes to Truth Social saying, nobody's getting off the hook, there are no tariff exceptions. Your administration literally put out exceptions, and now you're saying that there aren't any? It's like, where's the ball, honey? Where's the ball? And Elizabeth Warren said, you know, Trump's tariff policy is just all chaos and corruption. And, you know, I'm inclined to agree with that. It's just absolute chaos and corruption. But, like, what's really notable about these tariffs, too, is that we as the United States now have blanket tariffs, other than they're being paused, except for China right now, blanket tariffs on just all these countries. Like, almost every single country. Like, what kind of beef do we have with Belgium or South Korea is what she says. Think about, like, every other country. Like, why? And also, not everything can be grown or produced here in the United States. We, as the United States, don't have the proper climate to grow certain things. Like, on a mass scale, like, we don't have the ability to grow coffee beans on a mass scale. unless we were to start using greenhouses, which I'm not opposed to, but I'm not even an expert. Maybe you can't even grow coffee beans in a greenhouse. My point is, like, we don't even have the infrastructure, the scale to be able to do those things. So for him to just be slapping a blanket tariff on stuff is literally just a manufactured price hike. To manufactured price hike to stuff. Do you all remember the election? Sorry, that's kind of a weird question. You remember these signs? I saw them everywhere. Maybe it was just in North Carolina, but I saw these signs everywhere where it was like Trump low prices, Kamala high prices. We see with these tariffs that prices are starting to grow, rise up, and, you know, skyrocket. It's just funny, like, seeing this. It's like he said, low prices, and then literally not even a month into his administration, he says there will be some pain. Yes, maybe we have to pay for this transition coming back. So you did mean high prices. Shop local. It's not that hard. Oh, 100%. Try to do whatever you can local wise. It's the best way to do that. But, you know, you also have to look at this as the problem that it is. Now, there are certain companies that have a lot of production overseas. Let's talk about Apple for a second. Apple, you know, smartphones, you have, you know, your iPhones, your iPads, your Macs, all of that. Their production, most of it, is done overseas. Whether that's good or not, I don't think it's great. But that being said, it's done mostly overseas. Why? Because labor is cheaper in certain countries. Because they don't pay their workers enough to live appropriately. Now, that's awful. So I studied sustainable development in school and political science. The fact that there are workers across the world who are marginalized working in sweatshops and long hours is disgusting and awful and deplorable. It's awful. Like, the conditions in which some of these people work in is gross. Though, if we're going to try and bring back American manufacturing for stuff like this, you do realize that it's going to be at a way higher price because they pay these people so little that we would, as Apple, would have to be paying Americans a living wage in order to do this, which is the only way to do it ethically. So putting a tariff on stuff only hurts companies. So let me just quickly talk about Apple. Not only did Donald Trump's stunt of market manipulation with the tariffs literally wipe out $640 billion in Apple's market value, which I'm not here to say whether that's good or bad or defend it. I'm just pointing it out. Even with their efforts to diversify production, the company still depends on China. Now that they're facing tariffs from nearly every country they manufacture in. Now, China tariffs are around 145% now because of Trump's policies. And no company is more impacted by this tariff Armageddon than Apple. And Apple still assembles 90% of its iPhones in China, largely through its partnership with Foxconn. China also handles 80% of iPads and over half of Mac computers, according to Evercore ISI. Apple's been trying to get ahead of this. They've been making iPhones in India, assembling Macs in Malaysia, sourcing from Vietnam, but those countries are also now seeing tariffs too. That puts Apple in a really tough spot. And if you want to make an iPhone in the US, and you want it for $3,500, we should make it here, said Ives. If you want to make it for $1,000, you keep it in China. Now, again, just pointing out the systematic nature of this. Because people in China, because people overseas in more global South countries that have lower income populations of people that are very working class, they assemble these, oftentimes even children, and that's awful. These are dehumanizing environments that, you know, just pay people so little that it's awful. If we're going to try and bring that manufacturing back here, then we would have to be paying people a living wage to do it. I mean, we as the United States are not going to then elect to do these awful kinds of conditions that we see in China. Right wingers? We're not going to start putting slave shops around in the United States, sweatshops, I should say. But like, I'm just pointing it out here that if we were to bring this manufacturing back to the United States, it would cost a lot more. Now, I am not defending Apple at all for everything that they do. This requires a systematic look. There's so many people that are always so like black and white when you look at this. You have to look at it systematically. You have to look at it systematically. The reason why China hasn't been able to bring back a lot of jobs manufacturing-wise here to the US is because it's not cost effective. These tariffs only seek to make things worse because it's going to make it more expensive for them. Now, when you look at certain industries, Apple is only one. But Donald Trump is putting a blanket tariff on almost every single country, almost every single industry. So with that kind of scale, does he really think it's going to be strategically targeted? It's going to be effective. So, that all being said, just putting it out there that Apple is one of the biggest people hit by these tariffs. Now, what's really interesting, and I want to add a little bit more here, and also pause. I do want to put a pause in here. I did just open up membership here on my my channel. So for those of you who want to subscribe and support me, it means a lot. I have membership open. There's there's 3 tiers. The first tier, I have to remember what it's called. The first tier I think is called Fact Checker. There's like the second, which is Press Pass, and then third is the Editor's Circle. I'm going to be making members only videos for those other 2, and then the Editor's Circle, I add you to a Discord, and you kind of, I seek out the advice of people on that Editor's Circle. That's probably going to be the way of structured membership. I'm new at this, and I work really, really hard to do what I do here on YouTube. I'm shifted over from TikTok. Now I'm over here. I love all of you. So it means a lot for you all to support me. My moderators do fantastic work. So if you're looking to support me and fund my channel and fund my work so that I can make this a full-time thing, then please, please, please subscribe. I think the Fact Checker is only like $5 a month. So it means a lot to have y'all support. So, and what I do here is I try to make it easier to understand. I try to break down the craziness happening and break down the legalese, the jargon, and give you the opportunity to think critically for yourself. You don't have to trust my opinions. You don't have to agree with my opinions. But I'm also here just to inform you about what's happening. So, now to put it all in context with these Trump tariffs, what's really interesting is that Apple CEO Tim Cook personally donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration. Personally donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration. Now, before you think that Apple heavily donates to Republicans, technically that's incorrect. When you go through campaign finance disclosures of Apple Incorporated, and for those of you who are wanting to track the money in politics, you can go to opensecrets.org. They are a part of the Brennan Center for Responsive Politics. They do really great work reporting all of the money that different corporations will spend in order to lobby different politicians, and it's really good and it's easy to understand. So if you go to opensecrets.org, you can see all the different areas where people take money. Now, of course, Apple donated a lot of money to Kamala Harris. I just want to point that out there. Also, they did donate some money to Trump. Now, with this, Tim Cook personally donating $1 million to Trump's inauguration, my best guess is that he did this in order to try and, be a little bit more friendly with Trump so that he would be a little bit less forward on these tariff policies. Be less aggressive on these tariff policies, because that negatively affects his business. That's just my theory. I feel like that makes a lot more sense. And just putting it out there. Now, I think that there was one video I watched here on YouTube by a creator that I tend to like, and there's a video out there about what corporations have donated to what candidates, and that video, I believe, literally said that Apple only donates to Republican candidates, and that is incorrect. Around 95% of the lobbying that Apple does is to Democrats. And guess what? I'm saying that as a Democrat. I'm saying that as a progressive. And also, pause, we need to get money out of politics. We need to get money out of politics. We need to completely ban insider trading. We need to overturn Citizens United and Speech Now versus the FEC. We have allowed money to infiltrate our politics to the point where it is so hard to even have regular people get their voice in there. But guess what? Guess what? I'm saying that after exposing Apple donating to my own political party. So for all the right wingers that are attempting to, like, your brains are probably blown right now because you're like, wait, what? Yeah, guess what? Leftists and progressives, we stand upon our morals. If we want to get money out of politics, we don't just mean right-wing money. We mean the mainstream Democratic Party apparatus that donates heavily, that also takes a lot of money from big pharma, healthcare, oil and gas industry, and everything. Insider trading isn't legal. Actually, yeah, it is illegal, but we should allow. I should be more precise with my language. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stocks. That's what I meant. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stocks. My point is here, with all of this, we need to get money out of politics. And my theory is that Tim Cook donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration in order for him to go easier on the tariffs, which he is not, because these tariffs heavily impact Apple as a company. So it's very likely that Apple, if these tariffs actually fully go through, and there are no exemptions, that we're going to see higher prices on all of Apple's goods, because a tariff is literally a tax on a consumer good. That's what it does. That's what it does. There are some really, really obnoxious people in the comments. Let me just pause here for a second. Do you feel like an alpha male, like an alpha bro, trying to constantly bully someone over the internet who's just minding his own business, trying to inform you and give you the tools to think critically? Do something better with your time. The fact, you know what's so funny? And this is just a slight pause. What's so funny is there are so many people who try to claim that I'm somehow fragile or a snowflake. Do you want to know something? It takes guts. I'm not here to like overly put myself on a pedestal, but it takes guts to do what I do here. I open myself up to endless criticism all day, and there are people who cower behind their screens trying to type nasty things. Do something better with your time. I'm not your enemy. I'm your fellow American just trying to inform you. Trying to inform you. Stop. 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 Like, it really is, think before you type. Do something better with your time. Minding your own business is free. If you have nothing, you know what's so funny? We always tell kids, minding your own business, it's free, the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Why is it that we always forget that when we're adults? Why? Why? It's just like, do you have nothing else better to do? It's funny how those people call me the snowflake when I'm at least the person who has the guts to try and do what I'm doing here. Anyway. And also, if you want to slide into my DMs because I'm a cute little, southern gay guy, then let me know. I'm funny. So, anyway, just putting all of that in perspective, China also put on a lot of different tariffs onto the United States because of our tariffs on them, and it's only ramping up from here. This gets into kind of game theory for those people who know a little bit about the term game theory. There's negotiations, trade, all of that, it can be seen as a game. If we put tariffs on, they're going to put tariffs on. It's going to be like this escalating trade war. It doesn't lead to anything. It's kind of like, it's when, I'm trying to think of a good metaphor. You know what I mean, though. Like, if one country puts on tariffs to them, they're going to put it on you. It's only going to make things worse. It's only going to go up it's only going to go up from there. And I also just want to get to some comments about everything here, with Donald Trump literally saying that, saying there are no tariff exemptions. There are no tariff exemptions, when literally his administration put out something saying, hey, there are exceptions for electronic devices. It's like, let me just read off some of these comments here. Now, some of the first few comments are from Mediaite. So I go and check the comments on Mediaite sometimes, just because I like to see what people are thinking. And it's like, I think maybe he's just giving his rich friends time to buy or sell tomorrow. Then around 11:30 or so, the rest of us will get clarification. Pure market manipulation. Of course, Trump's post is as clear as mud. He's purposely attempting to confuse investors so he can later clarify. He advises his inner circle the trading positions that they should take. The penguins on that deserted island could govern better than Trump and his economic advisors in D.C. And just to put that in perspective, that's the Heard and McDonald Islands, which Donald Trump put a 10% tariff on, even though no one lives on those islands. They are only a fringe territory of Australia, the same way that Greenland is a territory of Denmark. But yet, the Heard and McDonald Islands don't even have anyone on them. All that's on them are penguins. And what's interesting is Hassan Piker, who is super, super handsome, by the way, just put Donald Trump's post here, or just commented on this person who put it here, saying, LMAO, art of the deal, baby. Art of the deal. Tomorrow, it'll be something completely different. Then he will backtrack that next day, and then the following day, and change it again. Leadership! That is so true, though. That is so true. You know, it's like, what kind of backseas is Donald Trump going to do today? Imagine trying to run a business and this man's tweets. It's just more art, less deal. Meanwhile, in the real world, people are dealing with gas prices and inflation, not exactly a deal worth laughing about. Trump's just discovering that we need the CHIPS Act. Goodness, that's dense. OMG, just tariff me already. I can't take it anymore. This person also just put up here an article, which I haven't verified, but that China suspends exports of certain rare earth minerals critical for semiconductors and aerospace industries. Uh-oh, don't let Elon Musk know. And this one, no exceptions announced Friday. And then it's literally like, here are the exceptions, the exemptions. Now, this is probably my favorite. Has anyone watched Avatar: The Last Airbender? I've not finished it, but I've watched through a decent amount of it. This is a meme from the show. In the show, it's kind of twisted. There's a whole kingdom where there's like the world is at war, and there's a kingdom that literally has tried to brainwash and control the narrative around like everything is peaceful and perfect in the kingdom and there's no war and everything is happy. And this is the tour guide that like tries to say like, oh, there is no global war. What are you talking about? That's nonsense, blah, blah, blah. Like, and it's just like you see this like big smile, and she's just literally a programmed robot that goes around and gives tours. Anyway, but it's just funny because this person said there is no tariff exception in the USA, and it's just her smiling. I was like, I forget her name. It was like Mi Lin or something like that. Anyway, it's a good show, but I like that comment as well. So, and then this one, I don't even get what's going on anymore. Do I get to eat burger or not? Still doing the meme. I'm adding tariffs. This will create jobs. I'm removing tariffs. Art of the deal. I'm adding tariffs. This will create jobs. I'm removing tariffs. Art of the deal. It really is fascinating, as someone who studies political psychology as well, to see people's cognitive dissonance in full swing, where it's like, oh, these tariffs are going to create jobs. And then it's like, you take them away, you're like, oh, he's negotiating. It's art of the deal. So is it not going to create jobs? Are you backtracking on that? Are you happy about that? Like, it's fascinating to me. And it's like, it feels like Trump's whole approach is, LOL, what would happen if to the markets if we just kept messing around with everyone? I'm already thoroughly exhausted. To tariff or not to tariff? That is the question. So everything with this whole situation is really crazy. I have no words for it. Like, even though I'm literally saying words, it's, who knows? Are there exceptions? Are there not exceptions? It's just, literally, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Not gonna lie, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, let me just read through some news and see what's happening. And I saw this and I'm like, this is going to be the story I talk about today. The fact that Donald Trump says that there were no exemptions from his tariffs, while his own administration, under the Customs and Border Patrol Office, put out a memo saying that there are exceptions to these tariffs, is baffling to me. Baffling. I can't describe it. How can you try and run a country when this guy says, I'm doing this, but I'm not doing this because it's good for the American people, and let me tell you, it's one of the best, it's fantastic. No, I'm going to do a tariff, not you're going to do a tariff. Tariffs are amazing. Tariffs are terrific. Like, dude. Should have voted for that woman. Yeah. Kamala, come back to us. Come back. At least we would have had a little bit, at least it wouldn't be chaos, right? Yeah. All the people that say zesty AF, at least I have flavor, unlike some people. Also, it's, if you're attempting to do that as an insult and yet you have no profile picture or no content, ooh, honey, honey, don't be coming for me. Don't be coming for me. So that all being said, it's fascinating to me how he can go about it. Now, when I looked at this, I was like, okay, so he's saying that there are no tariffs, but there are tariffs, there are no tariffs. And I think the most interesting twist here is his Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, literally saying that this is not like a permanent sort of exemption. What Trump is doing is he's saying that they're exempt from reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in semiconductor tariffs. And my was like, okay, well, what are semiconductor tariffs? And he then goes, which are coming in probably a month or two. They're coming in a month or two, so they're coming soon. So how can you say that nothing is exempt from something that hasn't happened? Like, you're going through and you're saying that there are no exemptions because of future tariffs that we're going to do. Well, you haven't done it yet. So it's just, it only adds to the craziness. It only adds to the craziness. And by the way, I'm just curious in here. If you are a first-time viewer, say hello and where you're tuning in from. Make America gay again. Just for people who are new in here, because we have a lot of people. But if you're new here, say hello and where you're tuning in from. Am I bisexual? No, I am very gay. But I appreciate every single one of you. It means a lot. If you want to support me in what I do here on this channel, please subscribe, become a member. I was thinking about naming my tiers something a little bit more like, the first tier would be Paperboy, but then I was like, oh, that's a little bit of a gendered term. I don't necessarily want to do that. Oh, we got something from Barbados. Okay, that's fun. That's fun. What's up? Barbados got that Caribbean spice. Okay, love it. But Kamala pretty much warned all of this was gonna happen. Yeah, 100%. 100%. We got England. Cool. Well, hello. Why do so many weirdos support Trump? No comment on that. Germany here. He doesn't know what he's doing. No, he really doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's gonna put tariffs on and then not put on tariffs. It's like one day he's pro-tariff, the other next day he's not pro-tariff. His administration puts exceptions and he says there are no exceptions. Just imagine if this was Biden. Just imagine for a second that this is Biden. Anyway, I'm new here from Pennsylvania. Okay, we got Nashville. Cute. Hi from Montana. Colorado. Becca says, love your content. Thank you. From the UK. Alaska, New Mexico. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, no, seriously, Peppo Pat. If Kamala Harris would have broke with Biden on issues around, not issues, like the genocide happening over in Gaza, then she would have won. She would have won. They would have trashed Biden and called him old. Right. Meanwhile, like, all of a sudden, if you take the existing parameters of the situation in which Donald Trump is under and just replace it with Biden, right-wingers would be going nuts. And you know what that shows? It shows that they don't care. They don't care about any sort of principle, any sort of values, any sort of morality. None of it. They don't have a set of beliefs. It's only opportunism. The more that you think of politics like team sports, the more you start to understand how MAGA thinks. They are 100% purely loyal, holds no, absolutely, like, 100% loyal to the Republican base. Doesn't matter if those policies negatively affect them. That is their team. That is who they cheer for. That is what is easiest for them cognitively, instead of looking at the nuance of reality. They just cheer for that team. Doesn't matter if it hurts them. They just cheer for it. Why? Because it's easy. Once Republican politicians made it into a team sports kind of thing, then, and you can even say some Democrats, then people just became so undoubtedly loyal to their team that they can't actually look at the policy and think critically for themselves. Which is wild to me, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give people the tools, the information to think critically for themselves. Free yourself from this whole chaos of like, are you team red, team blue? Free yourself. I'm personally a Bernie bro. I'm a super, super progressive Democrat. Look at the situation. Look at the facts, the science, the data, the statistics. Look at the situation and think critically about that. Don't just believe or act upon something because it's opportunistically good or bad, depending on who says it or who does it. It's more about the situation. Now, in my analysis, if you were to be outraged at what Democrats do, then you would be absolutely furious at Republicans and their chaos. Because when you look at things critically, reality, in my view, suggests that you're going to be a progressive Democrat. Just saying. That doesn't mean that Democrats are perfect, but still. My phone is getting hot. My phone always gets hot during these live streams because it's always hot in my car. Now, if anyone wants a little recap for everything that happened last week, you all know how Donald Trump literally, with his unpopular tariffs, literally crashed the stock market and then decided to reverse course and pause the tariffs, leading to the stock market absolutely skyrocketing, and only him and his insider friends knew about it. You all know this. Now, I have a big twist coming. There's a big twist coming with this as an update to this story. So you all know how, like, Donald Trump bragged in the Oval Office that his billionaire pals made a whole bunch of money after he put a pause on his terrible policy that led to the stock market crashing, and then the stock market surged back up because there was a pause in that. You remember that? Think of it as you set fire to a house, and then you call the fire department. They come and put out the fire, and then you're like, oh, look, I should get credit. I called the fire department. That's not how that works, honey. That's not how that works. Like, again, here's another metaphor. The way that this economy is working. Donald Trump puts tariffs, which literally plummet global markets, jeopardize our relationships we have with other countries, completely just damages those relationships that we have, and slaps tariffs on absolutely everything. Which, do we need a tariff on France? Do we need one on South Korea? Do we need a tariff on every single good? Because we can't always produce and manufacture things here in the United States. There are goods that we cannot grow. There are things that, like, in the United States, we cannot produce. So having a tariff doesn't make sense. Anyway, point is, Donald Trump's policies literally plunged the stock market and global markets. Then only he knew that he was going to reverse his policy. Only he knew, which he knew then would also skyrocket the stock market. So he literally sets fire to the stock market only to opportunistically change his mind and tell his investors to buy stocks low and sell them once it skyrockets. That's market manipulation. It's market manipulation. Honestly, Donald Trump, for what he did with that, doing these tariffs, then all of a sudden doing a 90-day pause, changing his mind, all of his billionaire pals making a whole bunch of money, profiting off of that insider information. Donald Trump should be impeached and removed from office, in my opinion, for this. Why? Because this is high crimes and misdemeanors. The fact that you use your office for personal profit is a high crime and misdemeanor. If this were to be a Democrat, if this were Kamala Harris, if Kamala Harris were to have instituted tariffs, she were to institute tariffs, then all of a sudden, the global markets start going down, and then she says, I'm going to do a pause on them, and she signals to all of her rich buddies, saying, hey, go and buy these stocks. Go and buy these stocks, and then the stock market just plunges up after she announces that. Then right-wingers would be having a fit. Rightfully so, because that's crazy. Why do they then forget or don't worry about it when it's Trump? Because they only play team sports with politics. They don't use critical thinking. They don't look at the situation and care about the merits of it. They only are opportunistic. Does it support my team? Does it support what I think is... Does it support Team Red or Team Blue? They can't look at it and think critically for themselves. Why? Because they're robots. Point of all of that is... Another good analogy is Donald... It's like you have two neighbors. One neighbor goes out of town, and they're out of town for the weekend, and the other neighbor and his friends all of a sudden they just rampage and just storm that house, ransack all the materials, ransack everything in there, break glass, papers everywhere, everything just ruined. And then the neighbor comes back from their vacation, and they're like, oh my God, what happened? We've been ransacked. This is awful. And then Donald Trump and his cronies are like, well, that is just awful what happened. Who would do something like this? Because you're my neighbor, I'm going to give you a discount. I own a cleaning company. I'm going to give you a discount on, we're going to go in there, we're going to clean it up for you. You're not going to have to worry about a single thing. You're not going to have to worry about a single thing. We'll even give you a 25% discount. That's what Donald Trump just did. He just crashed the stock market so that he could go in and make a profit. That is disaster capitalism at its worst. Now, I didn't say anything theft-wise. No, I just said just destruction. Now, what's really interesting is one of the biggest parts of this that he did was that only he knew that he was going to change his mind, unless he told other people. His bad policy leads to global markets tanking. Only he knew that he was going to change his mind. Now that's key, because this morning, literally 24 minutes before I hopped on live, which is almost 48 minutes ago. So this is, I think, about an hour and a half old. He posted on his Truth Social saying, the best definition of intelligence is the ability to predict the future. Now, what's so funny about this is that he himself was the only person who possibly knew that he was going to reverse his awful policies that would lead to the stock market surging. But also, Donald Trump has been wrong about a lot of stuff. He's been wrong about a lot of stuff. He spreads misinformation on a daily basis to predict the future. It's just, like, imagine if Biden were to type that in all caps. If Biden were to have typed that in all caps, you know what Republicans would say? Be like, He's crazy. He's crazy. Don't say every politician does. Yes, every politician does lie, but do you look at it do you look at it fairly? Do you look at it as, I love the both sidesism that is an immediate knee-jerk response from Republicans as soon as I point out that Donald Trump prolifically lies about everything. When you look at this situation, politicians lie. I'm not saying they don't. What you need to do is hold them accountable. But why do Republicans not hold accountable Trump for his absolute lies? Why? Why? Because it's uncomfortable for you to do so. Democrats, we hold each other accountable. We even said, hey, Joe Biden, you should step out of running in 2024 because you kind of looking a little worn down there, bro. Democrats hold accountable our own. Republicans don't seem to do that at all. They don't. But I just saw this and I'm like, this is just too funny. Now, I haven't looked at the comments because this was only 24 minutes old when it was posted, which was about 50 minutes ago. So it's just, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. So anyway, I'm going to skedaddle, but I do want to make a quick little plug here. So I do have merchandise. I work really hard to do what I do here on YouTube. And I'm trying to post more and more content because I'm trying to scale this up more and more. Think of me as like an aspiring Mehdi Hasan for Sateo or like Brian Tyler Cohen. That's kind of what I want this channel to be. Eventually I'm going to get there. But also in the meantime, I'm trying to scale it up. I also have merchandise if you all want to go and get some. I have little bumper stickers that are super cute. I like this one. So I'm gay, if you can't tell. And I was driving once with my friend Lisa and she was like, Scott, stay in the lane. And I'm like, I'm so gay, I don't drive straight. And so it just became a bumper sticker. And I thought that was really, really cute. But also I have this one, minding your own business is free. So I plan on putting this on my laptop today. I'm going to be putting it on my laptop and I like to go and work out like remotely at coffee shops and stuff like that. So it'll be a great way for people to just, if someone were to come over and be like, oh, I like your bumper sticker, and be like, you're minding your own business is free, honey. So it's just, anyway, but also these bumper stickers are pretty durable. So they're pretty durable. I don't know if you heard that, but I also have a lot of other merchandise that is centered around Elon Musk because he needs to be gone from government because he is an unelected billionaire that is basically running the government. And so if you go to my page and you click on DeFi Political Gear, you can go and check out everything. If this is all stuff that is from my business. It's a local LGBTQ owned and operated business. It means a lot for you all to support me. If you have any custom requests, something that you would love to see, then I will make it for you. I will. I'll put it on DeFi's website. I will put it on there as long as it's not subject to copyright and all of that stuff. But if there is an original saying or if there is a design that you are interested in getting, I will do it for you. So, but I also have a lot of different hats, particularly around like who elected Elon Musk. I have shirts. All of them are pretty cool. I've worn my hats on live stream before. I also have little magnets that say, I support DEI, deport Elon immediately. I think it's funny. So I love all of you so much. Y'all are incredible. And if you also want to support my channel, then please subscribe or please become a member of the channel. There are 3 different tiers. I'm going to be putting out members only content, and I'm also going to be leaning into producing more stuff just over time. I'm trying to scale this up so that I can make this my full-time job. So, and I give the biggest shout out to all of my amazing moderators in here. Tesla needs to go. Yeah. I mean, we need, at least Elon Musk needs to be gone from Tesla. Like, there are issues with Tesla, their supply chain, the human rights abuses. There's also environmental degradation that comes along with making electric vehicles, although they are cleaner comparatively speaking when you look at the whole when you look at the whole supply chain compared to gas-powered vehicles, but there's always improvements to be done. That being said, we need clean energy in order to transition to a clean energy society for employment as well as mitigating climate change. But that being said, we do need to Elon, he needs to be gone from Tesla. That's my personal opinion. I'm just. And anyway, he actually, it's so funny. He talks about being the fantastic streamer, and he recently played a game like on stream, and he was so bad, and there were people that were like pointing out how bad he was, and he quit the stream, and I'm like, oof. Anyway, I love all of you so much. Y'all are incredible, even the ones that are trying to be obnoxious. This channel would not be possible without my moderators in here. It would not be possible without my moderators in here. So I love you, Cherie. You're incredible. You are so amazing, Cherie. Ellie, Jenny, Akicha, Kate, Elisa, y'all are awesome. Like, I could not do any of this without you. Joanna Tech, and all of my good friends in here. I saw C-Bar in here, MJ. I love all of you so much. Like, these lives would not be possible without all of you in here supporting me, being a part of the community, and we're all here for each other. So, anyway, you all are incredible. I'm gonna skedaddle. Please go and check out my DeFi if you get a chance, and also become a member of the channel. It's a great way to support the channel, so it means a lot for you all to be here with me. And go and check out my latest videos. I'm going to be posting more coming soon. And just remember that you are beautiful. You are loved. You are valid. You are strong. And you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye!